The next question is, what pitfalls have you encountered, and how can you, our audience members, avoid them? And Jeri K. will be our first responder.
Well, the pitfalls we have is often in recruiting. We have a very diverse for Kansas community. 20% of our community is of non-white origin, and but that's the only kind of applicants we get. So we set about trying to figure out how to solve that problem, and we started sending notices to the churches, because the churches often have an ethnic bend to them, and that way we were hitting all the different demographics within our community. And we obviously would send it to the employment agencies, but it was very hard to try and get people to apply from those groups. And when we started sending letters to the churches, it really, really worked. And for us, it's easy because we have a ministerial alliance, and so we just send one letter to them, and they disseminate it to their people, and that's how we managed to solve that problem. The other thing is a pitfall is to just look at resumes for skills. So when I look at a resume, I look at the skill set, and I sort the resumes by that, and I set aside the ones that I think are great, and then I go back to that pile that I discarded, and I look for character. I look for somebody that is overcome something in life, that has achieved something, because I feel like they have grit and they have ability to work hard, and so I pull at least one of those from the pile, and surprisingly, I've frequently hired that person. So,
one of the pitfalls that we've encountered is, and that I've learned from, is don't hire one because you're desperate to fill that position, and they seem like the least worst option, because it usually is a worst option in the end. They become what I call a body in a chair. And so we've learned to just, keep going in the hiring process until you find somebody that you really think is going to work with that position. And sometimes it doesn't work, but at least you put in that little extra effort.
The pitfalls in our applicants, the applications, you can tell a lot from those. I'm kind of amazed at what people will put on an application form these days. And so we have people who, even though we think we have made the job requirements clear, they have come to us and said, I want to work here, but this is what I want to do for you, not what we want them to do. That they will come in with their own set of expectations and demands, and that has kind of been a problem. Some of the other pitfalls actually kind of go over into the next question. Can I just go ahead? Okay. What are the big barriers you encounter in finding and hiring the right person for the job? We're in a different situation. We would be much smaller. Our community population is under 2,500. So to begin with, our applicant pool is much, much smaller. As I said, not everybody, even though we've advertised and put the requirements, understand. I don't know if some of the applicants, they've made it clear to us that they're just filling out the application to meet requirements in other situations. We're seeing more and more where there's been a consistent history of the last 5 places they've worked, the manager has been mad at them, which is obviously a red flag. I mean, anyone can have a bad work situation, but when it's consistent, that is someone to be avoided. People not understanding, like they said, what it is we do. And when we start explaining these are the requirements, they want no part of it. And so that is a difficult situation. Also, in our community, we're only able, I'm full-time and everyone else is part-time. So that also presents a problem if someone needs full-time work who might be good. We just simply don't have the funding to be able to hire them. So I've seen a decided change. I was lucky my first 20 years. I had like 3 people work, and life changes, our society changes, and we're having fairly constant turnover now. So it is getting much, much harder to be able to find the correct person. Also, a barrier, and this may go down to the unconscious bias, a number of the people have lied on their applications. So that you just have to be diligent and check everything and don't take anything at face value, I think.
Respond to that last question. I'm going to back up to the pitfalls question. One of the pitfalls, believe it or not, is unable to contact someone who's applied. I mean, it's usually a cell phone number, and sometimes you call it and it says, the voicemail has not been set up. They don't answer, so you can't even leave a message, or the voicemail box is full, or something like that. Sometimes it hasn't even been a valid phone number. So, you know, that's been a pitfall I've encountered. Another pitfall I want to talk about is when you have applicants who might otherwise be good or might not, it really doesn't matter, who are related to other people you have relationships with, related to a board member, related to one of your other staff members in particular. I basically just don't hire those sorts of people, but sometimes that's a little difficult to tell people. You know, I've had staff members who wanted their child when they reached age 16 or so to work at the library, and I haven't done that. And one of the main reasons I haven't, not only the nepotism in that they might be supervising a family member, sometimes you could work around that, but what if that person doesn't work out? I have a very good staff person now, with the new person I have hired doesn't work out, and I have to let them go, or I have, even if I don't let them go, have continual problems with them. Is that going to ruin the working relationship with the first person? And then I had an applicant. This goes clear back to when I hired Vivian Peavy as administrative assistant. We had a wonderful administrative assistant for years before I came there, Judy Kubler. And so, I was going to be very particular about who I wanted to hire, not only the skills, but able to work with them well. And the daughter of the library board president applied. And I knew from working with her in the community, she would not be a good fit. She would have the skills probably, or could develop them, but her personality just drove people up the wall, drove me up the wall. I knew that was not going to work. And so, I didn't hire her, and that ruined my relationship with what had been a very good board member. He resigned, which maybe in the end was the best thing. But that was too bad. I really regret it. I wish she had never applied. But, so that's a pitfall I've had. And we don't recommend hiring people who are related to board members or other staff members. I think I'll move on to the barriers, and it is really kind of related. One that I've seen for the position that we hire for most often, which is a clerk shelter, might be a call to page in other libraries. We largely, but not entirely, hire high school or college students for that, but sometimes someone a little older. But those are part-time jobs, and they're not a minimum wage now. They have been a lot in the past. We've moved them a little bit past, well, about $1 an hour past that now for new hires. But anyway, we used to be able to just go to a stack of applications that people would put in and have quite a few to choose from to interview. And in the last 8 years or so, that has just about dried up. We get so very few of those, and most of the ones we get don't seem like good candidates. And if we hire, or if we interview them, we soon find out, because for that particular job, for for Iola Public Library, not the regional system, for a lot of the jobs, not just the clerk shelver, I just see if they can put things in alphabetical order and numerical order. I have a cart full of books to do that, and some of them you think might have potential, can't do that. So it's been harder to fill those positions, particularly those part-time clerk shelver positions. A barrier we've had also is the hours that we have to offer and the pay we have to offer. The hours when we're hiring a clerk shelver, if they're a high school student, they basically have to work after school. We're only open to 8. They can go to A&W or McDonald's and have plenty of hours on the weekend and working until 10 or 11 at night, but we're only open until 8 at night and only 5 on Friday and Saturday, not on Sunday at all. And so the hours, if we're going to give them sufficient hours, usually have to be at least some of those after school hours. So that kind of rules out all your football players, track players, tennis players, anyone who has routinely practice right after school. So anyway, that's what I have. Who else wants to speak about what sort of barriers you encounter? Okay. What do you require of applicants? And Bev is going to be our first responder.
We actually work with the city HR department when we hire, but we do require an online application form. We do request a resume. When someone also sends in a cover letter, I like that. I think it may show like a little more initiative, especially if they make it more towards the library, not just a mass mailing, And so it shows me that they would want the library job, just not any job. We ask for a schedule of available hours to work. We want to make sure the hours we need are listed on the job description as well. Before they're hired, they are required to pass a background check and a drug screening. So we require that of all employees. So those are the main things that we require.
We require an application form. We also require a background check before hiring. We have not done drug testing in the past, but I'm thinking about asking about that. Thinking about, you're always looking and planning for the future. So, I think that's probably going to become more important. Depending on the position, if I'm hiring a children's librarian, I ask them to come with a story time planned and a craft activity, so on and so forth. We do the shelving for everybody, a cart to see what their skills are there, because if you can't, a basic thing is if you can't get the book back in the right spot and it's lost, that doesn't do us any good. If I'm hiring technical services, I may ask for a computer project, something suitable to that particular position that is open.
We require a resume, a cover letter, and references, and that's all we require.
For us, it kind of depends on the position as well. We have application forms at the desk, and for a lot of positions, we just ask them to fill out the application form. But for more senior positions or certain professional positions, we ask for a letter of application and a resume instead.